Hey everyone. So for a couple of days now I've been thinking about how I wanted to do this or even if I wanted to do this. But the deciding factor really for me to do this, to tell my story and how to do this is to tell my story. It came in the form of an email the other day. Now, I'm not going to be presenting like all my evidence and pleading my case here in the court of public opinion. I'm just going to tell my story exactly like the other party has. Just tell my story. I do have evidence and receipts to back up everything I claim, or at the very least, if I don't, I will inform you of something being my opinion or whatever as I go. But the email, though, that I'm talking about that has me deciding to do this is an email that I received on November 8th. And it was from, well, I'll get to that in a second. First of all, I want to say that one of the main reasons why I chose to cover like the Lauren Matthias TRO is because I could heavily relate to the kind of damage Lauren was potentially causing, because I myself have been going through this for 2.5 years now, just about. And I'm going to tell my story today. I'm going to because all I want to do is tell my story. I'm going to refer to the other party as SM. I'm not going to give their name or whatever, though I do feel like I have every right to. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't, whatever. But because it's not my interest to cause harassment. It never has been, and nor do I think I have, but regardless. So the email, though, that I'm talking about would push me to do this today is one that I received from the other party. And it says, Miss Costello, please find attached a screenshot of additional evidence from after I mailed your jump drive that I intend to use at court along with your ex post from the same day. I still have not received any evidence from you, and my mail has been delivered for today. Thank you, SM. And the screenshot she delivered, or she sent attached to this, is a screenshot of a comment I made in a private Google chat about like 14 hours prior, where I shared with the other people in the chat, 5 people total in this chat, and they all, well, with the exception of one, I think, is going through the same shit I'm going through with the same person. I said to them, it's a long way away from being uploaded, but here is SM's evidence against me for contempt. I blew off the court date, by the way. I'm done with the shit. I'm doing shit my way now. Meaning, I'm ignoring it. I'm not feeding it any more fodder. And I really did believe that I had already blown off my court date. Apparently I didn't. The court date is sometime this week. I'm not sure when. But I'm not going to the court date. This has been going on for 2.5 years. And it's just getting worse. Even though I've spoken about this person none at all on my channel. I barely even uploaded or went live on my channel, because even when I did talk about things that had nothing to do with this person, she misconstrued things or twisted things or manipulated things to make it look like they had to do with her. And so I didn't feel safe even speaking my own mind on my own channel. One of the many ways that I just don't feel safe thanks to her. Like, I don't feel safe participating in this court process any further, because this is now the second private communication she has somehow obtained access to. So I'm not even allowed to have private communications from her. That's bullshit. And this is all happening under the adjudication from this court. The court is Cowley County, Kansas. So I'm just going to real briefly try and run down my story here, because I've yet to do that. And really, it's my right to do that, because her story has been out there. Her version, anyway, has been out there for everyone to reiterate. I mean, no one has receipts, but everyone's reiterating it anyway. So, my story with this person who filed a TRO against me starts in June of 2023. Another viewer in my live chat kind of introduced us to one another in my live chat. And this this viewer mentioned something about an interview, but I didn't even pick up on that when this happened. I just knew of SM because she had shared some screenshots with this Twitter account without any balls with a Z regarding Katie Joy Paulson from Without a Crystal Ball. And this is going to matter because I think she's been involved in a lot of this. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand why Katie doesn't like me. I mean, I don't regret anything I've done, and I do it again, but I can still understand why she doesn't like me. I mean, I blew up a huge lie of hers, and so naturally she's not going to like me. That's fine. She's allowed to not like me. She's allowed to talk shit about me. I don't care. But I still think she's had a role to play in this, which this I do kind of care about, because this is no longer just talking shit on the internet. This is going real life. This is fucking with my life. So yeah. Anyway, so this person was pointed out to me in my live stream chat, and I shared my contact info, and I was like, hey, contact me, whatever. Well, SM apparently emailed me twice. I didn't see it. I don't check my email as much as I probably should. So it wasn't until she sent me a Twitter DM that I seen that she was trying to contact me, and she had sent me a couple of emails. So I went and I read the emails, and my first response to her was, listen, I'm not an advocate. That's not what my channel's about. I mean, if you really want to share your stuff on my channel, I guess, but here are some channels that might be better suited for you. And, and I went on to list one channel anyway. And so she wrote back to me and said, no, that's not what I'm interested in doing. Which is funny, because now, or shortly thereafter, about a month after that happened, she, up until this day, has been telling people that we were all chasing her down for an interview about the IBLP. A subject I've never spoken about on my channel. The only time this shit's been mentioned is when I was covering Katie Joy, and Katie Joy was talking about it, or inserting herself in whatever IBLP story was happening at the time. Anyway, so SM went on to say, no, I had these screenshots of private communications between myself and Katie Joy I wanted to share with you. I was like, oh, okay, sure, cool, send them over. So she did. And I asked for permission to share them in a live stream, and she granted it. So this was on the 8th. So later on that evening, on the 8th, going into the 9th, I did a live stream, and I shared these screenshots. And during this live stream, I said, listen, I told my viewers, I have not verified anything that SM has shared with me, though I have no reason to doubt her. I just want to be transparent, and I was, take that for what you will. So right after my live stream ends, I get a text message from SM, her saying, if you wanted proof or whatever, all you had to do is ask me for it. I'll give you whatever documentation you need or want or whatever. And I ignored it. I was like, the only documentation I wanted was the screenshots, which I got. So everything else, I don't care to verify or not. It's not the point. It's the connection to Katie Joy, because that's what I was talking about. So she went on to say, I would have shared this with you, whatever. And I'm just like, whatever. So I go to bed. It's like after 2 a.m. at this point. Well, about 1 p.m., a few hours later, in the morning there, or early afternoon, I get a message from her saying, have I done anything to upset you? I've not heard from you. I'm like, I slept. I sleep, I ignored it. So then I get another message from her asking the same question. And I felt bad at this point, because I thought, well, maybe I did give that impression. Looking back on it, I didn't, but still. So I messaged her back. I'm like, no, we're all good. I'm sorry if I ever made you feel that way. We're all good. We're all good, though. She's like, okay, good. So we left it at, I told her, I'm like, listen, I just work a lot. I had to sleep, and, I have Sunday off, though. Maybe, we'll catch back up on Sunday if you want. She's like, okay. This was on a Friday. It was the Friday after, Friday the 9th, maybe? I think so. I think Sunday was the 11th. This is in 2023 again, June, if that helps. So that evening on the 9th still, I'm at work like I said I was going to be. And it's 2 days before Sunday still. she messages me and says, "Did you get my PayPal?" And I'm at work, dude. Like, I can't sit there and fuck around on social media. I'm thinking to myself, I don't even know if I got your PayPal. How can I let you know? You know? So I ignore it. So then, I think maybe she messaged me again about it later. I'm not sure. So, but anyway, so Saturday and Sunday come and go. We didn't get in touch on Sunday. And a few days after Sunday, I think on the 13th or the 14th, she messaged me and she said, "Well, you said you'd get in touch with me on Sunday. You never did." And I'm thinking to myself, no, I said that maybe we can catch back up on Sunday. I didn't say I was going to initiate anything. So she says to me, Sunday came, you never got in touch with me. So I contacted PayPal and asked them, and they suggested to me that I write to have my PayPal returned, since you're obviously upset with me and you refuse to help me understand why. Like, okay, and mind you, days before, when she was first asking me on the 9th there if I was upset, she said in the text messages that if she did anything to upset me, she'd like to know so she can rectify it. If she can't, then she'll just accept it and move on. But here I am now on the 14th or 13th, her telling me, either you help me understand why you're upset with me, or I'm going to report you to PayPal. Okay. So it's at this point that I'm like, yo, this is crazy. No. I don't reply. Well, then the beginning of July happens. And she messages me. And she says, I really need to get... Or no, she messages me about Dion Derrico, I think was his name. Some reality star who Katie Joy found herself in an entanglement with or whatever. And she's like, I have these screenshots. And Dion reached out to me, because he saw my post about it, my coverage. I want to share them with you. So I'm like, okay, cool. I said, can I share these on stream? She said, yes. I don't quite remember if I shared them on stream. I probably did, but I can't say for sure. So then the next day comes, and she says, I really need to get in touch with Steve. I left a message on his Twitter, but he has not responded to me. Like, how dare he? I ignored it. And then the next day she messaged me again, and she said, okay, I talked to Steve. Now I really need to talk to you. And I'm like, whatever. So she messaged me again. I'm like, fine. Okay. We can talk it when I get out of work, but it's going to be late. And I got out really late. I got out like after midnight. So we ended up talking though on the phone. And the reason why she wanted to talk to me was because she wanted to ask me to become an admin to a Facebook group. This like anti-Katie Joy Facebook group where people debunked Katie Joy's lies or shared their experiences with Katie Joy and shit. I'm like, listen, I don't have time. If I had time to do a Facebook group, I would do one for myself. I don't really have time for this. I mean, you can add me as an admin, and maybe, here and there, maybe I can help out, but you really can't expect much from me. And she's like, oh, that's fine. Okay. Also in this phone call too, I want to reiterate that she shared with me the reason why she and Katie Joy had a falling out. She said, which is also contradictory to the screenshots she shared with me from her conversations with Katie Joy, but I digress. But she says the reason why she and Katie Joy had a falling out was because after she shared her experience with the IBLP with Katie Joy, and she even said, I only shared with her what's available publicly. I didn't share anything private with her. Katie Joy then went to verify her story, and in her process to verify things, she contacted, like, one of the people she contacted was SM's son. And that was, like, a step too far or whatever. I never once said that she's told me this in a text. She's lying when she claims I said that she told me in a text. It was clearly in this live stream of mine, still up on my channel, where I said she told me this on the phone. And I'm not the only person she told this story to. The other admin of the Facebook group, Allison Jones, a.k.a. All Things Sassy, I guess. I don't know. I know Sassy's name in real life in her Facebook account, so I reached out to her, and I never heard back from her. So I have no idea if Sassy was behind that account or not. So, the other admin told us in a Facebook chat the same exact story that she was told by SM about why she and Katie had a falling out. Anyway, so she asked me to be an admin on this group. I'm like, sure, okay. Well, like I said, this was on, it was like July 6th, maybe, give or take. But in this phone call, she also asked me if I would do a live stream with my moderator at the time, Sue, because Sue had this experience on Katie Joy's channel on a live stream chat where Katie was talking about years ago with the time her son was hospitalized. And Sue, having been able to relate to what Katie Joy was saying because she sadly, tragically lost her daughter years ago, she shared her story in the live stream chat, and Katie yelled at her and accused her of trying to take the focus off of Katie Joy and onto Sue. Yeah, so we did a live stream where Sue came on and she told her story. And so during this live stream, though, I gave credit for the idea to SM because it was her idea. I mean, I would have been happy to take credit for it, but that would not have been honest. So instinctively, I gave SM credit for it. Well, SM, I guess, was very upset about this because then she messaged a few of my colleagues bitching about this. And what I read from this is she wanted the Facebook group connected to my live stream, but not her name, which I thought was very weird. But anyway, so over the next few days, myself and colleagues, we kind of compared stories and shit and some screenshots of communications and whatnot. And it was apparent that SM was in each of our DMs trying to turn us all against one another. She was lying. Just trying to cause problems. So we did a live stream on July 19th because we very publicly supported what her story was and the things that she shared and her involvement and whatever. And we aligned ourselves with her. I aligned myself with her through the Facebook group even. We felt, since we did all this publicly, we felt the need to publicly unalign ourselves. Disown her, I guess, in a sense. So that's what we did. That's it. And she got pissed off about that. So over the next few days, that was on July 19th. Over the next few days, she was fighting with a bunch of people on Twitter mostly and putting up all kinds of posts in the Facebook group about us, but mostly on Twitter. And then all this shit happened on the subreddit, WOACB subreddit. It's no longer in existence. It's since been taken over and then deleted. But there was all these messages up there with all these crazy accusations and shit up there. So at the time, my colleagues were kind of posting back at her. And I kind of gave them shit for it privately. Like, dude, that's what she wants. Don't feed into it. Don't give her the fodder. But by the end of July, I found myself doing kind of the same thing. Well, pretty much. Yeah, I was doing the same thing. So, but the thing is, though, is my tweets are still up. Hers are not, because her account was deleted by Twitter for abuse and shit. My account is still up. My tweets are still up. I haven't removed a thing. So if you were to go and look at my tweets from this time period, you would see that every time I tweeted at her, it was in response to one of her tweets. I never initiated anything regarding her. She initiated every single correspondence. She even jumped into my discussions with other people about things pertaining nothing at all to do with her. She jumped in there and just started dragging me, calling me names and insulting me and trying to accuse me of being to blame for anything and everything. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Mind you, I still haven't responded to her in private chat at all or in text messages. She's still texting me throughout this too. From the middle, toward the middle of July, that's when I stopped responding to her privately. From then until about a month later, middle of August, she had sent me 80 texts and I did not respond once. In fact, in her text, she was giving me ultimatums. She was giving me threats and just basically telling me what she was going to do as a result of my inaction or whatever. She said that she has all these video clips she's going to give to other creators to make a video and expose me or expose us or whatever. And I was harassing her by not talking to her. She told me that it was a feeling that she had from when she was a child, something her parents did or whatever, that she can't handle when someone treats her differently than they once treated her, because then she feels like it's her fault. She did something wrong. And it's especially my fault because I'm not even trying to work with her to help her understand what that is. So, and then she sends me memes of depicting how the silent treatment is a form of abuse in relationships. And I'm like, I'm not dating her. Like, we talked twice on the phone, a handful of times through text correspondence. And we've known each other for just over a month. What the fuck? So, I still, like I said, I never responded to her again privately. So August comes around and she's still coming at me. She's still inserting herself into all of my Twitter conversations. And so it got to the point where I just started tweeting, leave me alone, please leave me alone, just please leave me alone. And it got to a point where for the love of God, I just wanted it to stop. So I said, listen, fine. Tell me what it is I've said or done about you on my channel. Tell me what video stream it is. I'll fucking remove it. Just tell me. She said no. So a few days later, I made the same offer. Only this time I said, I would like you to also remove your tweets about me, because they kind of go hand in hand. It should all be removed. She said no. Okay. So I stopped at that point responding to her even publicly on social media. Then I got served with a TRO from her. At my work, too, nonetheless. And I sat there looking at this paperwork like, I don't know how I can leave this chick any more alone than I have. What the fuck is this? And then I read the petition. And first of all, she says that I contacted colleagues of hers. Someone shared with me a public Facebook post where someone from her real life, an old hairdresser of hers, had gone through pretty much the same exact thing that I was going through, that we were going through. So, and then I read the comments, and in the comments, her stepdaughters were talking about how they went through the same shit with her. And all these other people went through the same shit with her. So I left a comment saying, listen, I myself now am going through something very similar with her. Do any of you have any advice for me? So that apparently was harassing her and contacting people. And even though I did it all publicly, out in the open. And meanwhile, she's tweeting at me relentlessly. And my tweets to her are just in asking her to stop, or to point out how something she said is not true, or to leave me alone, or what the fuck do you want? I'll give it to you. So after I get served with the that's right. In the filing for the TRO, she mentions that how I contacted this person, but she described this person, who I'm going to refer to as C, as a former hairdresser of hers who she had a falling out with because the hairdresser ruined SM's hair, so SM left a bad review for C. That's was my understanding of their entire relationship, really. So going through, though, reading more of this order, she's accusing me of, I forget, diminishing or discrediting her childhood sexual trauma or some shit. Like, I don't know anything about that, nor do I want to know. I seriously don't want to know. Oh, and that's right. Then there's this whole thing with her ID. She, apparently, okay, so back in June, apparently when she messaged me that following morning, she's like, did I do anything to upset you? She apparently thought that she might have done something to upset me by offering to send me whatever documentation proof of things. She thought that sending me shit might be upsetting to me. So here we are now. I've gotten served with TRO, and throughout this process, throughout August, there's this thing with her driver's license. She, unsolicited, sent her driver's license out to several people. I was not one of them. Thankfully, I dodged that bullet. But a few people, sadly, got it. And then she put her own license out on social media, and her own address in another tweet, and then her phone number in another tweet. And then she went and tried blaming all of us for having done this since we had her driver's license. Like, make that make sense. And she's had several different stories on why it is she was forced to share her ID or whatever. I have to say, though, there's one account who is not at all she's no longer with us, but who was not at all a fan of mine, who was in a Twitter back and forth with SM over this. And thankfully, though, she kept asking SM for receipts, like show us where you were requested to share your ID. SM never shared anything. In fact, all SM said was, well, a few other people had seen it. If they want to comment on here about it, they can, but like what? Anyway, so there was a story with the ID. So, in the CRO, though, I was not ordered or told I cannot talk about the events going on or even about her. I just couldn't contact her or have anyone else contact her on my behalf and shit like that. Which, okay, I myself stopped contacting her entirely in July, so that's fine by me. So, I did a few streams about it. One stream in particular, it was in October, I think. It was where I mentioned the whole like DramaCon thing. And I said, listen to my viewers. I said, I have business in the middle of the country. Did not give state, definitely did not give city or county, just the middle of the country. Perhaps we can do like a meet and greet after my business concludes, somewhere in the middle of the country, maybe a couple hours away in one of the major cities, which I still did not list, away from where I need to be at this point in time. That was it. Because I was like, let's turn lemons into lemonade. And I even suggested that we call it, not like DramaCon or whatever, but instead call it like Without a Pot to Piss In. Now, to this day, SM swears that I suggested that name because I was mocking her for not having money, which, I'm sorry, I don't see how that's harassment, even if that were true, but that's not true. Anyone who knows, and SM knows this because we had a conversation about the whole Toddy Westbrook lawsuit Without a Crystal Ball, but anyone who's familiar with that knows that in 2021, it was either the end of 2020 or the beginning of 2021, Nick Snyder from The Viewer's Voice did a video where he was covering the whole Toddy Westbrook suing Without a Crystal Ball, and he referred to Without a Crystal Ball as Without a Pot to Piss In. There's even been forum threads with that moniker, Without a Pot to Piss In, over Katie Joy. And SM knew this. But SM still to this day is telling the court that I'm mocking her for not having money, which is rich because I have not been able to afford a lawyer throughout this entire process. If it wasn't for GoFundMe, I would not have been able to afford even going to Kansas any of the 2 times that I went. But yes, she's been whining about having spent $120,000 in legal bills. But yet, I refer to her as Without a Pot to Piss In. Like, in that scenario, I don't even have to piss, let alone any pot. So why would I do that? Anyway, it's just another clear example of how things are being misconstrued, in my opinion, deliberately, to try and keep this going. And I wonder why that is, but I'll get to that in a minute. So I did that live stream there in October, and then SM petitions the court and says that she's in fear for her life because I'm going to have people show up on the court steps to harm her or whatever. And nowhere in my stream was anything like this is just a flat out fabrication. It's a total bullshit lie. Thankfully, the court saw through that, though, and said, no, the date stands. So, we had our hearing there in January, and then the trial was set for the end of February. So, we go to our first day of trial there in February. And she paid someone from the community who has an honorary degree or something, I don't know, in something to do with cults to testify, Chris Shelton, to testify as though we're like exhibiting coercive control or some shit. Chris Shelton needs to realize that his involvement in this case was doing just that exactly. And if he paid any attention to like Cheshire, he would know that. But I digress. Clearly I'm not the one doing that when I have not even spoken about this much. I've not spoken anything ill about, well, Cheshire yet, but I mean, she's done over 100 streams about me. Literally. I'm not even exaggerating. So, I just find it funny how the people who are still to this day coming at me on Twitter are victims of mine. I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't feel as though I'm a victim of them. Like, they've all done me wrong, but I don't feel like I'm a victim. So anyway, and one of the other people who testified here was Cheshire, which was kind of funny because when Cheshire did a stream reacting to my DramaCon stream there, Cheshire said to her buddy there on stream, Manya's, she says, maybe after court, on the court steps, we can make Aaron sign my tits. So while I was cross-examining Cheshire, I got to ask her, do you still plan on making me sign your tits after court? And she tried to walk back on that, like, hardcore. She's like, that was just a joke. I didn't mean it. Like, duh. I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry. The sexual aggression just didn't really come off as a joke to me. Whatever. Which, side note, by the end of this, or not the end of this, by the end of our trial and shit, or by the time we got our ruling, Cheshire was extremely hated by the court and not at all deemed credible. So, anyway. So, that was the end. So, that was our court date in February. Oh, and at the end of our court date, SM's attorney served us with contempt paperwork. Now, I'm looking through this contempt paperwork, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. The things that she's holding against me for contempt are things that I'm allowed to do according to the order. So I asked the judge for clarification on the order because I'm really confused about this. So the judge gives clarification, and she agrees with me. Yeah, she does say, though it might not be wise to talk about these things, there is nothing in the order that states you can't talk about these things. So, okay, thank you. But somehow, though, this contempt filing just stood its test of time until it was dismissed finally months later. So anyways, we go back to court in May. And here's where I catch SM perjuring herself several times. One in which she says that she was never posting in support of all these other streamers doing these streams about her or whatever. Then I showed her comments. And then in one comment in particular, she said, which stream was that? And I didn't know the name of it. I just knew the channel and the date of the stream. And she says, was that? And she names off a title. And I said, I don't know. She goes, well, it's hard for me to tell because there were like 300 or 400 there was like 400 streams made about me or something like that. And that was in support of her. We were talking about the content creators streaming in support of her and her supporting these streams in the comments. That was the whole part of that cross-examination. I want to point that out because it's going to be very relevant in a moment. So, and then she tells this fantastical story. Oh, no, that's right. No, she told this fantastical story back in February. I got to question her about it, though, in May, about the hairdresser. She had a brand new story about the hairdresser. She said that the hairdresser's kids made comments to SM about how the hairdresser's new husband, their stepfather, was inappropriate with them. Well, it came out sometime before the filing and the court date that the hairdresser's husband at the time, now ex-husband, but husband at the time, who was a sheriff, was arrested for having an inappropriate relationship with a minor, though the minor was not a family member. So none of the hairdresser's kids were involved or even mentioned in this. But SM felt, fuck that. I'm going to make them a victim on public record anyway because it helps my story. In my opinion, that's what happened. Either way, SM either perjured herself in the original petition that she filed or in her testimony given in February. My opinion is she perjured herself in February because the hairdresser had the same exact story that she was accused of giving SM a bad haircut, and so SM gave a bad review. So, yeah. But once again, it seems like SM wanted to weaponize the whole thing of childhood SM for her own benefit, in my opinion. That is my opinion. I'm allowed to give my opinion because that's exactly what I read into happening. So, then in May, I believe it was May, we were told by the judge that we could not talk about this publicly because there was the statute on the books or whatever had changed, and because some high school girl lost her life because of information that became public or got out publicly regarding a TRO. And I don't know if that's true. I don't doubt that maybe something like that happened, but I do doubt that we couldn't talk about it. Maybe we couldn't talk about it as the proceedings were happening, but I'm not even sure that that's the case. I still kind of think we could talk about it. I do think we can talk about it now because it's even by Kansas precedent, it's a violation of my First Amendment rights to tell me I can't talk about this. So, which I found kind of weird because when myself and the other content creator who was there in court with me, when we had questions, just about general questions about how things ran in this specific district court, we were told to go contact the Kansas attorney. But yet here is the judge telling me what is seemingly something that's not entirely true on behalf of the petitioner. Because there is no statute stating that it can't be discussed. I've looked this up. I contacted Kansas attorneys, just for clarification. And no, there's nothing like that. So, and I'm not saying that the judge, it helped one side more than the other or anything. I don't know what to think there, but I do think that did seem to not be quite so impartial. My opinion. I'm allowed to have my opinion. So, then May court wraps up. And this was May 2024. And then at the end of summer, SM's attorney drops her. So, months go by. We're still waiting for a ruling. We didn't get a ruling until December 3rd. So that's a long time for a TRO. We're talking a year and a half under a TRO. So the order states, basically we lost. But here's the thing. And here's the problem with these TROs and everything when it comes to online shit. This has to be a different, there needs to be a different classification or whatever for this process when it comes to online shit, if this is going to continue. Because these judges don't know the first thing about social media. They don't really understand what it is they're being told. Maybe that's our fault, but whatever. It's still difficult. So, in the order, here's where the 400 hours of content thing comes up. The judge accused me of orchestrating or encouraging 400 hours of content to be created full of solely information on the petitioner. And she was reiterating this from what she heard SM say in court. But what we were talking about were SM's supporters' content. That's what she referred to. That was the whole point of that conversation, that testimony at that point in time. And here I am being accused of this. Oh, and then it was also the reasoning for this judgment. The judge likened it to how, unlike in real life, when someone feels threatened, they can go home and hide and call authorities, and authorities show up. Well, online, you can't do that. So, and I'm like, well, that would be true if the judge first, included information about how the petitioner went around setting fires on everyone's private property, then went home to hide and called authorities. That's more true to the situation. And the judge also said how the petitioner was constantly reminded through bombardment of notifications or whatever of what we were doing online. Anyone who knows YouTube, though, knows you have to opt in for notifications. In fact, you have to not only opt in to receive them, you have to choose whether or not to receive all or some. So, I argue that if she felt harassed by notifications, then it's because she opted in and therefore she's harassing herself. But I digress. The point is, though, is not even that's true, because almost everything she thinks was about her was not about her. And even the ones that were about her, I have every right to discuss, because I'm not naming her. I'm not identifying her. I'm just telling my fucking experience, and I have a right to do that because it's my life. It's things being done to me without any of my control. So, anyway, this was December 3rd, 2024. Not long after this, the judge then recused herself. So then another judge came on board who really hasn't been much help either. And now we're in 2025. So I filed a motion for reconsideration. Now, I looked up to the reasons why you can file a reconsideration motion. And two things I took away from that was if you feel that the original judgment got something wrong, or if new evidence comes to light. Well, I can't control when new evidence comes in. But new evidence came in. Oh, yeah, it did. So here's the new evidence that came in. I have received screenshots. Oops, sorry, I hit the microphone. I received screenshots of text messages between SM and this Debbie Drury person, whose husband is an attorney, too. Somewhere. I don't know. And in these screenshots, one of them was from December 2023. This is before we even had our first day of trial, or even the hearing to set up for trial. SM made it very clear her intention to have us all charged or given lifetime restraining orders, permanent restraining orders, and then to be held in contempt of court, and then to hopefully charge criminally, maybe thrown in jail. That was her plan all along, regardless of how things went. So, and also in these screenshots, she's also colluding with Debbie, instructing Debbie to contact the original judge, the first judge, but not to tell the judge that SM told her to contact the judge, because the judge gets all mad and shit over fucking ex parte shit. And then told Debbie exactly what to tell the judge. Whether or not Debbie did this, I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know. But I do know that Cheshire did. So I wonder if there was actually even a collaboration, or, corroboration before that, I wonder. Anyway, and also in these text messages, SM tells Debbie that we threatened to slice her throat. What? Like, my mouth dropped when I read that. I'm like, nowhere did any of us do that. What? This is insane. So, and also the new evidence that I had privy to was in the form of it came from a FOIA request from a case file from Wright County, Minnesota, from the Sheriff's Department. Because in February 2024, Katie Joy started making these videos against myself, against Vada, against Rabbit, against Steve, and I think of a couple other, and Burnell might have even been mentioned too, I think, claiming that we were working with Robert Shin to harass her. Oh, and that we were also harassing this woman in Kansas. And here's the thing. When it comes to this original harassment that I keep waiting for someone to tell me I did, what it was I did, everyone says the same exact thing, like verbatim. And that is, what they did to that poor woman is just horrible. That's all I hear. But no one can tell me what that is. I know why they can't tell me that, but, But in this, while Katie Joy was making these videos and trying to put all these claims and shit onto us, much like she did with the whole Natalie Kennett situation and the whole Toddy Westbrook trial. And here now she is in another lawsuit with 7M and Robert Shin, and now she's trying to wrap us all up into that too and blame us for shit again. She made a report to the FBI, and the sheriff's investigator was there for this interview with the FBI. So in this case file that we received was the transcript to this interview. Sure enough, what Katie Joy said was, what we did to that woman in Kansas is just horrible. I can't even, like, verbatim, that's what she said. I read the transcripts up on my channel. There's a video. It's one of the recent videos. Or one of the last few videos, whatever. I think. Anyway. So yeah, that's what she said. And this was throughout 2024. This is going to become important in just a moment. But, so like I said, here we are in 2025. And all of this shit's coming to light now. So this is included in it's included in my motion for reconsideration. But I'm told that I filed it too late. But one of the reasons you can file it in Kansas is when new evidence comes to light. But apparently you have to know that the evidence exists and obtain it within a 90-day time frame. I don't understand how that works, but okay. I do admit that much of the things that happen is very likely because I'm just inexperienced. I'm not a fucking attorney. But again, I didn't have the money for an attorney. I don't have the money for an I'm the only income earner in my household. I have 2 jobs. I mean, I can afford my home and shit like that, but only because I have a smaller overhead, and I don't make a whole lot of money. I think I do okay as a bartender, but anyway. So then throughout the summer, this past summer, 2025, I'm hit with more motions, subpoenas, in fact, because now she wants access to my private communications with other defendants because we're all working together because we're all pro se. And we're all fighting the same accusations from the same person. So our cases are almost the same. And in this one chat, there were even a couple of potential witnesses that we communicated with in there that they thought was safe to communicate in there. And now, because SM wants my private communications, because she doesn't think I'm entitled to them, to keep them private, that now she wants me to tell them that it wasn't safe. Apparently. So, and this is what I mean. I don't feel safe with this court. Because she's fighting to get one private communication. The rest of it, she already has several screenshots. And then she shares a screenshot of a new private communications thread that I just made like 14 hours prior. I don't know if she's got my computer hacked. I mean, I did plug in the thumb drive she sent me. I don't know if she has people like implemented in my online life as fake friends. But she has documented my entire online activity and has tried to weaponize most of it against me. She either has me hacked or she has people implemented in my online life, but yet I'm the one harassing her. When I asked her from the very beginning to just leave me alone, I offered to give her what she wanted. Oh, in fact, when we had a Zoom hearing, I think in September or October of this year, just a couple months ago, the judge gave us 15 minutes to try and come to a resolution. I again offered her that same arrangement. She again told me no. So, and it's because of her that I barely uploaded or went live on my channel this year because I don't feel safe to. You know, like, I'm a 50-year-old bartender. My kids are grown and out of the house for the most part. Nobody really listens to what I say anymore. And I get it. I mean, maybe what I say isn't that interesting or that important. So my channel was the one place where, whether people listen or not, I got to say it. Now that's being used against me for 2.5 years. I can't even speak about my own fucking life because she deems it harassment, which none of this is harassment. She publicly tweeted about me on Twitter. She publicly posted about me in a Facebook group. She contributed to Reddit public posts about me. She participated in other channels, live stream chats, comments, live streams. And then I speak on that, but I can't. I'm told I have to shut up because it's harassing her. I have been bullied for 2.5 years by this person, SM, and these other content creators who have, and these other social media accounts, and you all know who you are, who have helped her and assisted her along for whatever reason. Again, I don't know if this is being set up as some sort of scapegoat for Katie Joy to possibly use in her upcoming inevitable trial with SM coming up, because it's all very similar. Or what? But, oh, that's right, yeah. So, in this content, this contempt evidence that she sent me last week, she sent me screenshots of her private messages with Katie Joy. So when this whole time when I've suspected of the two of them being in cahoots or whatever for the majority of this whole thing, she proved I was right, because I only had screenshots of, or I only had email threads going back as far as like I think July 2024. Well, she just sent me screenshots of communications between her and Katie Joy going back as far as the beginning of February 2024. And I suspect that they've been in contact since the end of 2023. So far, she's got me only 2 months off of my original claim. So I wonder if there's more to it than that. If there is a reason for all of this. I seriously wonder, because it was all things Sassy who, in the whole Toddy Westbrook lawsuit, shared things with Katie Joy, allegedly from Natalie Kennett, to kind of give, I guess, Katie Joy a leg to stand on there, maybe. I don't know. But, and then it's all things Sassy who comes along with this Facebook group and with SM, and who ropes us in, and then just poof, takes off. And just ignores any and all attempts to contact. Oh, and also in this contempt evidence, this, because I feel like I should put this out there. Throughout the end of 2023 and the beginning of 2024, there was this name on this Twitter account and YouTube account that kept coming up and knew an awful lot about our court activity. And the name was Rita Ballou. Well, in my efforts to construct my case for argument, I was looking into SM being a content creator because of how she was a country music journalist. And in my efforts, I came across an old Twitter account of hers. And on this old Twitter account, like we're going back to like 2013, 14, 15. On this old account, she was regularly chatting on Twitter and Facebook, and her actual Facebook account, with this account named Rita Ballou. That's fucking odd. And when I submitted my evidence list for our contempt trial, which never happened, I put on there that one of the things I planned to show were these things with Rita Ballou, which surprisingly, the day after I sent my evidence list, the Rita Ballou YouTube and Twitter accounts, poof, disappeared. Anyway, so in my efforts, though, to determine if this was, because there was this one tweet between Rita, or tweet thread between Rita and SM, where SM goes, "Are you the Rita Ballou from Twitter, from YouTube?" She's like, "Yes, I'm so happy to meet you." That's really all that was said. I thought that was weird because she knew Rita Ballou years prior on Twitter, and she doesn't think to say, "Are you my old friend from Twitter from years ago, Rita Ballou?" She makes no reference to that. Just, "Are you the Rita Ballou from YouTube?" And this is her meeting her for the first time. It's so bizarre to me. It's not, but you get the point. So I reached out to the Rita Ballou on Facebook to see if she was the same Rita Ballou on Twitter and YouTube. She never got back to me. But in this contempt evidence, SM included screenshots of that. And so this is the fucked up part. She's forced herself into my life. she's forcing me to answer for shit that's not even attributed to me in any way, shape, or form. And then in my efforts to defend myself, she's using against me as though it's some form of harassment, when she's put me in this corner. Oh, that's right too. She made reference to an X post I made where I quoted lyrics from Chinchilla, where it says, I pack a punch when backed into a corner, something, don't say I didn't warn you. When I first made that tweet, it had nothing to do with SM, but you bet your ass it does now. Because after I got that email of her barging into my private communications, and now trying to use them against me in a court of law and put them on document, yeah, you bet your ass that applies now. Sorry, I was briefly interrupted there from someone. I don't even know where I left off there a minute ago. Oh yeah, so she's barged herself into my private communications. And so yeah, I do feel like I'm backed into a corner now. And I thought I missed my court date last week. Apparently my court date is sometime this week. I don't know when it is. I'm not going though, because like I said, I don't feel safe with this court. Because she's able to try to silence me privately now, including on my channel, over her lies, over bullshit, over her over dramatizations with no facts, no evidence to back it up. Like, this is bullshit. I went to court with all my tweets, with all her tweets. And still, the court can't even tell me what the fuck I did to harass anyone. Or how this is a violation or not covered under First Amendment. No one can tell me anything. So, I'm not going to subject myself to her harassment of me. And I thought about filing a TRO against her. But here's the thing. I'm not safe to. Because I could file in my own state, New York State here. But New York State's kind of a reasonable state when it comes to things like this. So she would very easily just file a dismissal due to personal jurisdiction. And New York State would very likely grant it. Logically so. I do that in Kansas and it's denied. So I would have to file it in Kansas, which means I would have to fly to Kansas to fight it or to argue it. And I don't feel safe doing that. Like, I don't have much confidence that if I went to Kansas again, that I would be leaving that state. Like, not ever. I'm sure I would at some point, but not on my schedule. Like, I really feared she would find a way to, whether, I don't know, somehow to get me arrested or something. I don't know. But I don't have any confidence in that court. I don't have any confidence in the state, how the law, the court, whatever. I don't. So I can't file against her and argue it. I'm just forced to keep dealing with this. Well, I don't want to deal with it anymore because it's bullshit. I've left her alone. I don't even want to put this video up on my channel, but I gotta tell my story. I left her alone long ago. I begged her to leave me alone. I offered to give her what she wanted several times. She's still coming at me, making up shit, and roping all these other people into helping her. What the fuck? So yeah, I'm done. That's my story. Sadly, this seems to be becoming the norm on YouTube or social media, which is bullshit because wait, I feel like I have lipstick in my teeth. All right, which is bullshit because no one has a right to say and do whatever the fuck they want regarding you, and then tell you you don't have a right to speak out against it. And that seems to be what's happening a lot on YouTube. See, Laura Matthias, she had she's had it. She still has a very large YouTube channel. She's only lost like 10,000 subs, but when you have over 300,000, you know, really, that's a drop in a bucket, kind of. But she was going after a TikToker with less than 2,000 followers. It was only when that proceeding, their time in court, when that proceeding was being streamed publicly, or the audio was being shared publicly, that Lauren realized what a mistake that was going to be, because she was going to be exposed and it was going to harm her big fat channel. So she dropped it. SM doesn't have a big, large channel like that, so I'm not so lucky. Katie Joy does, though. I wonder why Katie Joy got so involved in this. But I guess we'll wait and see, maybe. Yeah, it's funny how before any of this happened, in late 2022, you could find SM on Katie, or you can't anymore. She's since removed all of her comments. Not before we got screenshots, though. But you could find SM on Katie Joy's Facebook page, posting all these things in support of Katie Joy. It wasn't until the end of May, beginning of June 2023 that changed, that she was posting things against Katie Joy. And then, about a week after that, she gets in contact with many of us. I don't know. I wonder if there was a plan. Because I also wonder how it is someone who claims to not have a pot to piss in could afford $120,000 in legal bills, legal fees, or whatever, over something frivolous like this. I wonder. But I can't prove anything. That's just my own curiosity wondering. I'm not even saying that that's in my opinion. I don't know. But I wonder. Yeah. Either way, I'm not playing this game anymore. It's my channel. I'm going to talk about what I want. I'm going to talk about me. I'm going to talk about my life. I'm going to talk about whatever content creators I want. I'm going to continue doing shit. You're not going to take that away from me anymore. And you're not going to force yourself into my life anymore. I'm forgetting about you after this video. I want nothing more to do with you. Hopefully you will feel the same way. If not, then we know what your true goal is here, and it's not harassment. Thanks for watching.